Hello. So this is 15 brilliant hacks you can learn in couples therapy. We all think we like to know what's best when it comes to navigating our relationships. Excuse me. But sometimes it's necessary to call in the help of a professional, such as couples therapist or a relationship coach, who can share some ways to solve relationship issues. Drop a few pearls of wisdom and impart knowledge you and your partner likely would have never figured out on your own. But nowadays, with the internet and everything going on, you can actually find this stuff without ever stepping into an office. So, one of the things here, for example, is remind yourself what brought you together. After you've been together for a minute, it can be easy to forget what initially brought you two together, and even easier to take each other for granted. That's why therapists often suggest couples make an effort to keep things fresh with a few simple tricks. It's easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day. Your partner will not always seem new, novel, and steal your heart automatically, which is why telling yourself why you love them and then telling them will keep the love spark front and center. Add in more spice to your date nights, having more sex, and being more affectionate, and you will be feeling that spark again in no time. Embrace the fact you're so different. If you and your partner are total opposites, you might start to wonder why the heck you're together. And you might even think your differences are the source of all your problems, but therapists are often quick to point out that the opposites attract for a reason. Partners often seem perplexed how they could have possibly ended up with their spouse or partner who is opposite from them. This was said by licensed psychotherapist Karen. She explains that their choice is due to evolution, whose main purpose is to keep us alive and procreating. In evolutionary terms, a child has more probability of surviving and thriving if its parents have complementary strengths. So the fact that you're opposites can be quite beneficial, especially if you learn to embrace it. In an unhealthy relationship, we seek, find, and then dislike an opposing trait in our partner. In a healthy relationship, we value it because we have something to learn from it. Remember, your relationship template was set in childhood. The way you two interact likely has very little to do with each other, but more to do with what you learned about relationships when you were a kid. The template for relationships is set in childhood. Most couples have no idea that most of how they relate to a partner is due to this template. They also don't recognize that they get unconsciously triggered when upsetting or unhappy childhood memories automatically resurfaces in similar current situations. But this knowledge really can change how you interact. The person who wrote this points out that their sore spot from childhood and how easily they get triggered helps couples to become less reactive and more compassionate toward each other. The next tip is, if you need to, it's okay to go to bed angry. It's often suggested that couples never go to bed angry, but instead make up right away, so they don't stew in their fury the whole night through. But not every therapist agrees with this advice. People are often surprised to hear from couples counselors that it's okay to go to bed angry. What this one teaches them is, which is really quite obvious if you think about it, is that you can't solve anything while you're angry. Sometimes you just need to part ways for a few hours. Only once you've cooled down can you really address an issue in the relationship positively and productively. So if you're mad and it's bedtime, you can either argue, fight, and yell until the wee hours of the morning, or you can accept that the problem is what it is right now and go to sleep and wake up in a much better place to handle it. Relationship issues are never one person's fault. So, while it may be tempting to blame each other for the problems in your relationship, therapists want you to know it's hardly ever one person's fault. Instead, the problem is in the interaction, the dynamic that the two have developed and honed over time. Instead, you want to look at the life cycle of your arguing pattern. There's usually a trigger. Not the same thing every time, but rather a feeling that is illicit in one partner. What follows is a cascade of action that, if examined carefully, can reveal what trap the couple falls into. The beauty is both partners have the ability to interrupt this dance at any point. The struggle is forcing you to do something new so you don't stay gripped in the power of the pattern. The sooner you stop assuming, the better. Many couples therapist points out that 9 times out of 10, when we assume we know what our partners are thinking, we are usually 100% wrong. And that is because a lot of couples view a situation solely from only their perspective of the situation. Without complete communication with each other, assumptions can start to creep in about what the other person is thinking, feeling, or doing. Some couples will then act on their own perceptions without fully getting the whole truth. It's also not helpful to talk in absolutes. While arguing with your partner or discussing things they do or don't do, try to avoid words like always and never. If you think about it, every time you hear someone telling you that you never or you always, subconsciously, you'll go into defense mode. Your intelligent mind knows that it's not the absolute truth, and your partner will want to defend themselves instead of listen and consider your point of view. Also, use I statements for healthier arguments. The best course of action whilst having a disagreement is to state your cause. Using I statements, which essentially means talking to your partner without pointing fingers. Don't tell another person how you feel, who you are, or lecture them. Instead, use I statements to describe your thoughts and feelings about a situation. You statements will put your partner on a defense. Keep in mind, it's actually a good sign if you're arguing. While you obviously don't want to be in a never-ending fight with your partner, couple therapists point out that arguing can actually be a good thing. Saying nothing and brushing everything to the side is a recipe for resentment and contempt. You will disagree, you will be angry, and you will hash things out. So don't be afraid to have a little back and forth. It's also important for relationships to grow and change. While you might want your relationship stay exactly how it used to be, getting stuck in the past can actually be detrimental. Understand that you, your partner, and your relationship are dynamic and always changing. The moment you find yourself in that it used to be like this mode, you're trying to work backwards in time. It really is all about the little things. So while you might think that grand gestures of love are the keys to success, counselors tend to point out that it's more about the little things, like bringing your partner a cup of coffee or sticking a cute love note in their pocket, that add up to a healthy relationship. Next one says schedule time for sex. In the early days of a relationship, sex tends to happen easily and often because you're still so excited about dating and spending time together. But as you get further into the relationship and your busy lives start to get in the way, sex can start to take a back seat. This can be a sign of a problem in a relationship, but can also be the cause. Our sex lives are like a barometer that can be used for gauge how things are going in a relationship. Often when the relationship is suffering, so does the sex life. If you want to fix a relationship woes or at least stay connected while you weather the problem, scheduling in sex really can help. Complement each other more often. So many relationship problems can crop up when one or more both partners feel neglected and not appreciated, which is why compliments really go a long way in improving a relationship. Be mindful when you're together. So couples tend to ignore each other when they're together, again, due to the fact that it's easy to take your partner for granted. Add in the fact that we all have our phones in our faces, and it just compounds the issue. We live in an age when distractions are everywhere. This can be overworking, hobbies, smartphones, and more. It's easy to find yourself so distracted in a relationship that you can never truly spend time with your partner. So put away your phone, turn off the TV, and spend mindful time with your partner on a regular basis. And then finally, last is giving each other the benefit of the doubt. When you're angry, it's easy to dig in your heels, act stubborn, and see your partner as an enemy. You start by assuming the worst, and it goes from there. However, the best way forward in a relationship is to give your partner the benefit of the doubt, and then have a conversation about issues that are bothering. So that's it. Thanks for watching. And also, I hope you enjoyed this video. So leave a comment, like, subscribe if you enjoyed it. If not, give me some reasons why you didn't enjoy it or topics. your own opinion on the topic, whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching.